going on. Andrew Balbirnie is the current captain of the Irish cricket team in all formats. They are just back from a drawn T20 series against the West Indies. All of this in a World Cup year. He has just become Irish captain, so great to have Andy in studio. That's coming your way after 8 o'clock. Seamus Callanan also coming up in studio. No pressure, but in 2019 he won an All-Ireland, scored a goal in every championship game and won Hurler of the Year. His 2020 starts this Saturday in the league against Limerick. We have Martin Lipton with us on Mourinho's squabbles with Danny Rose. We have Australian Open thoughts from Conor Nyland, also in studio tonight. Your thoughts, tweets and texts to 53106 or at Off the Ball on Twitter. And 6 Premier League games, including Chelsea, Arsenal. Nathan Murphy is here.
Good evening.
And Richie McCormack as well. Hello.
That's a busy show you have for yourself there, isn't it?
Very eclectic mix. Yeah. Andy Balbirnie. We recorded this earlier on. He came in on a flight this morning from the West Indies. He's a bit jet lagged, so we didn't make him stay up too late. Something which I was not aware of. Maybe you were. I'm not an aficionado of cricket. So he was talking about the red ball and the white ball, obviously the red ball test cricket. And I had always assumed that the bowler knew which way the ball was going to turn when it hit the wicket. So I thought the bowler threw the ball, tried to disguise which way the ball was going to spin, and the batsman, as much as anything, is trying to read the contortions and the body language. But Andy was saying that actually the bowler throws the ball, and just the way the seam is, even the bowler doesn't know if it's going to hit the wicket and turn left or right. So nobody's a clue which way the ball's going.
Don't even get into the intricacies of something called swing, Joe, whereby the atmospheric pressures impact on the movement of the ball mid-air. That's before you get into the inconsistencies of the ball actually bouncing on an uneven surface and trying to come back up and be played. He
said swing was easier to detect as a batsman. Don't ask me why. Please, God, don't ask me why. But I just assumed that the bowler knew exactly what, because I just thought if you, for instance, kick a football, which obviously doesn't have seams on it, I get that, and you curl it right to left or left to right, you know when it hits the turf what way it's going to go. The spin is obvious.
One side of the ball isn't shinier than the other in soccer either.
Yeah, I would have assumed, all right, that the bowler hold the ball in such a way that you're trying to get it down on the seam, that was part of the skill.
Well, you can see it especially with a spinner. It's not like entirely random. They have a fair idea what it's going to do. They have a fair idea what they want it to do. The pitch, for want of a better term, doesn't always play ball. Like you can have it where you're trying to have it bounce in. The 9th out of the 10th, it'll suddenly...
They must have some idea. Like you think back to Shane Warne and the greatest... What was the greatest ball ever played?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that ball spins the opposite way. He obviously knows it's going to come back.
I'm just telling you
so
what
it's not
the
just going
Irish
to randomly go...
I don't think Warren knew, and I think certainly Mike Gatting didn't know that ball was going to come back to such a degree, the way it did.
Maybe not to such a degree, but it certainly wasn't going to randomly spin the other way.
I think it could have done, though. This is what blew my mind.
But no, Warren delivered that one, no.
Maybe certain geniuses know. But in the main, I think it's a surprise. So I was just blown away by this. I thought a big part of being a good batsman was reading the body language, the contortions. But you're literally just having a swing, hoping for the best.
I really hope now that Andy is sitting at home and his coach is going, sorry.
You don't know?
What have you been doing for the last 20 years? Day one.
Oh, dear.
He's like, oh my God, this game would have been so easy.
Seamus Callanan, let me give you this. 31 years of age. He's been playing with Drum and Inch as a senior since he was 16. He's won a county title with them. With Tipperary, 4-time nominee for Hurler of the Year. Obviously, Hurler of the Year this year, where he scored a goal in every championship game. He's 4 times an All-Star. With Tipperary, he's won 10 major trophies at inter-county level, including 3 All-Ireland, 6 Munster Championships, 1 National League. He is a record goal scorer with 35 goals for Tipperary. He is the joint second highest goal scorer in Championship history right across the country. Still only 31 years of age.
He's one of the sports people, when they walk into studio, you can sense their greatness. Like, he carries himself very well, and he's also just built.
He's a big man.
You can see why he's so effective.
Yeah.
Like, obviously a lot of hurlers will come in and out of here and they all have their own quirks and abilities and the way they can get around the pitch, but you just look at him and think, considering the skill level he has, like the power.
He's a phenomenon. He had back surgery last year, so that's a big thing he's managing now. So he's on the way. They get underway against Limerick in the league this Saturday. Kevin Kane was in touch on Twitter. Shane Long and Michael Obafemi start up front for Southampton tonight. When was the last time a Premier League team started with 2 Irish strikers?
Kevin Doyle And Shane Long, Joe.
It's a less interesting answer than I was hoping for.
What were you looking for? Were you looking for like Stapleton and Quinn at Arsenal or
Yes,
something?
absolutely. I wanted a dynamic duo. I would figure it might well be Gary Doherty and Robbie Keane. That's what I
That would have
thought.
been my guess, to be honest, yeah.
I would have thought aside from those two, you're really struggling.
Have we ever had a dynamic duo?
Like Long and Doyle were because you're talking 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Like they were fresh, exciting.
In a handy Reading side as well.
Anyone else, though?
What have you
what's your
got
problem with Reading?
What are you got against Kevin Doyle and Shane Long?
I wanted to hear Quinn and Stapleton or something like that. Did they? I don't know.
I think
Someone will
Quinny
text
would-
us.
Quinny would have been too young. Stapleton would have been gone.
Yeah. Stapleton would have been at United by the time Quinn
Yeah.
went to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've never produced many strikers, really. Until now.
No, automatically you're thinking, did anybody play upside along with Robbie Keane?
The Doc.
The Doc.
Nobody at Villa?
I was thinking, did anybody play alongside Clinton?
Clinton. Nobody at Birmingham.
Great radio, this.
5-3-1-6.
These are the questions that
The silences.
you
The
could
big
spend
questions.
hours and hours trying to research.
It hadn't even gone 7:01
Go on.
when Ed had texted into 53106.
Go on.
I feel like Ed's been sitting on this text for at least 24 hours, if not more.
I feel like Ed knows the answer and is withholding and just wants to make our lives hell.
Sorry, Ed doesn't have a question. Ed wants to just get a few things off his chest.
Oh God, here we go.
Lads, something has been bothering me, he opens with.
Okay.
Keane and co.
All right, here we go.
They've argued that recruitment at United has been poor, so it's not the fault of OGS. I'm not buying it. Are we really saying Klopp couldn't do better with the players OGS has, including a one-stop goalkeeper, an €80 million defender, a top young striker, etc.? Are names like Henderson, Milner, Robertson, Gomez, Genie, the Ox, etc. names people would have expected Klopp to turn into literal world beaters? If OGS has them and couldn't get a tune out of them, would people say he should have turned them into world beaters? No. Special managers do special things. Ordinary managers blame everybody else. Ed.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't blaming anybody. He's not coming out firing.
No, Keane and co are blaming
Keane and co.
on his behalf.
Like legs and co.
I think that's a fair point.
Well, he does. He summed it up there. Like
Beautifully
Jurgen
done.
Klopp is one of, if not the managers of his generation, because he can inspire players to greatness who you may have looked at and thought, yeah, they're very good players, but he brings them onto a whole new level.
Literal world beaters, said Ed.
You might be a Liverpool fan.
They are literal world beaters.
But the thing, there's a couple of things in that. First of all is that we mentioned this last time when we were comparing Klopp and, as Ed calls him, OGS, in the sense that we knew from the start what style of football Klopp wanted to play, and he has hammered and moulded that to such a refined degree that they are humming like a perfectly oiled machine now, and that's all good from their point of view. Also, he has signed players who aren't and weren't, I'd imagine the likes of Andy Robertson and Wijnaldum, etc., weren't on huge wages and the biggest earners in the club as soon as they arrived, which is, again, we mentioned yesterday, part of the problem at Manchester United is that there was such a weird curve in terms of wage structure there, that they were bringing in players who were right to demand, if they were going to be on a the same level and same team as another player, similar wages to them. So the care factor amongst the players isn't what it should be. But similarly, Solskjaer hasn't laid down, like from game to game, we don't know how United are going to play, and that's partially his fault too.
I was tentatively suggesting last night to Pat Nevin that he is starting to improve some of the players. Fred's definitely improved. Rashford.
Fred played well for the last 25 minutes, half an hour at Anfield.
He's improved,
in a
though.
game that couldn't be more suited to him.
But he's improved.
Because if the game was 100 miles an hour, he didn't, like, it was little touches here and there.
But he's improved.
Didn't need to be creative.
But he's improved.
You're basically
what?
saying he's not
From being terrible.
He's not as shite as he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rashford's improved away from the tyranny of Jose.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Martial's better.
Maybe Marcus Rashford right now could be the best striker in the world, and this is the bare minimum we can expect from him.
Well, that is a fair suggestion. And Solskjaer's having to defend his treatment of Marcus Rashford at the moment. Bissaka, once he can cross the ball. And, there's a bit of improvement going on, isn't there?
It was Neville on Sunday, because I was watching on TV. I think it was Neville. It might have been Carragher even. Castigating Wan-Bissaka constantly for his positional play in the second half, especially during that period that you mentioned, the 9 minutes and 45 seconds.
Oh my God! Like, I've never seen a player look as bamboozled and head spinning like Wan-Bissaka in that 10-minute spell.
He definitely shouted back to Lindelof, "Over to you."
But the only defence you would give is, firstly, I thought in the first half actually Wan-Bissaka did quite well up against Mane.
Yeah.
But he was clearly following instruction. So maybe he's not quite mature enough yet to realise, okay, we're under the cosh here, like we've never been in our lives before. Let's just get through this. Let's just get rid of the ball, do something different. But there was nobody leading in that 10-minute spell for Manchester United that said, let's go long. Anthony, stand on the halfway line, chase down every ball, make it a little bit more difficult. We just need to get it out. 4 or 5 times in the space of five minutes. Like, it was ridiculous. Wan-Bissaka tried to play it out from the right-hand side, totally isolated.
Even when around the time Henderson was smashing that ball off the post, or to be fair, De Gea was saving, brilliant save, I just was thinking, why did someone go down injured? Like, it was just like Liverpool were electric at that stage, and no one had the cop on even to hold the whole thing.
Dan McDonald's been in touch.
Oh, God. Here we go.
Here we go.
We missed the bleeding obvious.
Give me the team.
If I give you the team, it's literally this season.
Oh, Sheffield United.
Callum Robinson, Dave McGoldrick.
Have they started together, though?
Up front as a duo. Up front as a duo.
As a two.
As a two.
I don't. Come on now. Has Robinson
I
started?
associate Robinson as playing more out on the right, but maybe I'm thinking more that Ireland side of things.
I'm not sure they were up front as a duo.
No, I think they were.
Well, but you wouldn't say who a deadly duo for Sheffield United is not Callum Robinson.
I don't think your actual question was deadly duo, that they were like both scoring 20 this season.
I said dynamic duo.
Your criteria have somewhat altered since the start of this.
You're looking for players that aren't there, some sort of all-conquering Irish front two that we have somehow not heard of.
Is the reversion of Quinn and Phillips back in the day, all Irish? Doesn't seem to have ever been one. Anyway, we can't waste time on this once again. I'm sure Dan would know if there was one. So we have 6 live games this evening. Yes. Frank Lampard's ears were burning. He was watching the Roy Keane comments. Maybe it's because he's English, and he picked up on that in his press conference. Said,
how long has he been at Chelsea, Joe?
8 months.
There we go. Chelsea will look to get their push for a top 4 place back on track tonight in the Premier League when Arsenal visit Stamford Bridge. Team news for that one's incoming in the next minute or so. Elsewhere, struggling Aston Villa host resurgent Watford. Crystal Palace host Southampton, for whom, as we mentioned, Shane Long and Michael Obafemi both start. James McCarthy is in the Palace midfield tonight. Everton play Newcastle at Goodison Park with Seamus Coleman on the bench for the hosts and Kieran Clark starting for the Toon. Bournemouth face Brighton with Aaron Connolly on the bench for the visitors there. And Manchester City will look to close the gap on leaders Liverpool to a mere 13 points when they travel to Sheffield United. Dean Henderson starts in goal for Sheffield United with Chris Basham, John Egan and Jack O'Connell, their back 3. George Baldrock and Evan Stevens provide the width. Ollie Norwood, Mo Bezic and John Fleck are in midfield with Ollie McBurney and Billy Sharp up front. Callum Robinson on the bench and no David McGoldrick involved tonight. Now for Manchester City, Aymeric Laporte is back involved for them. It looks like they may have a back 3 tonight. I'll give you the team as it starts. Ederson, Kyle Walker, Nicolas Otamendi, Fernandinho and Laporte with Rodrigo and Alexander Zinchenko. Kevin De Bruyne, Riyad Mahrez and Raheem Sterling are in support of Gabriel Jesus. Kick-off in those games is at 7:30. The Chelsea-Arsenal one is at 8:15.
Just to state the obvious, obviously, it's amazing to have Long and Obafemi starting together. Hasenhüttl quite likes Shane Long. Myself and Dan were talking about it last night in the football show. He had really good comments about him, even pre-game and then post-game when he scored. Said he's not a wall player, not someone you can play loads of 1-2s off, David McGoldrick style, but runs, really physical, still good in the air. And he scored at the weekend. And then Obafemi post Stamford Bridge, I'm suddenly a whole lot more excited about.
I would have thought that Shane Long was a bit of a wall player. That he actually, he's got good shoulders on him that can, if needs be, like he always obviously wants to spin in behind, but that he can do that job if you need him to. Like part of leading the line for Ireland was not just getting in behind, it was winning headers. There's nobody better at winning a free kick than Shane Long.
I would have thought
drawing a foul.
Wall player means though that you can play a 1-2 with him, that he can, you know, like McGoldrick can come short and you can bounce off him a bit, i.e.
as if they were a wall.
Yeah, maybe. Like Long is obviously always keen to get in behind.
Yeah.
Obviously he got the goal, he missed a great chance aside from that, and
that's never changing, is it?
It's every game.
Yeah.
There's a little bit where you go, Jesus, just unlucky. Like headers hitting the woodwork and Danny Ings is there to knock in the rebound. But even the ones that hit the woodwork, you're going, I should have finished that.
Yeah. But at least his confidence seems to be up. So it makes
But he's playing every week. Like,
it's
the first time in quite a while.
Yeah.
A couple of seasons that he's playing every single week. So like, if he's playing every week, how close is he to starting for Ireland? If Dave McGoldrick is fit, and Sheffield United are saying that they don't think it's too serious, like he's automatic. But Long is probably back into that role of off the bench, 20 minutes left.
Would you put him in ahead of Aaron Connolly at the moment?
Right now, see, where's Connolly playing for Ireland?
TBC.
So, Probably. McGoldrick and Long up front together. Like away in Slovakia. You're looking for...
Can't see McGoldrick and Long starting together.
No, I don't think he will. I think McGoldrick will start, Long will be on the bench.
We're talking the last 20 minutes.
Connolly will be...
Last 20 minutes when we're desperate.
I think Long will be coming on. You're hoping to stretch them a little bit. But he wasn't even in the squad.
No, it's fallen off the radar completely. So it's a real rejuvenation.
It's a pretty fast front two that Sheffield United or that Southampton are going with.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye on that game.
Team news from Stamford Bridge for you, by the way.
Yeah.
Kepa Arrizabalaga starts in goal for the host Chelsea. Cesar Azpilicueta, Antonio Rudiger and Andreas Christensen, along with Emerson Palmieri, are their back four. In midfield, it's N'Golo Kante, Jorginho and Mateo Kovacic, with Willian and Callum Hudson-Odoi in support of Tammy Abraham. For Arsenal, Bernd Leno is in goal for them. Hector Bellerin, Shkodran Mustafi, David Luiz and Bukayo Saka are their back four. Lucas Torreira, Granit Xhaka and Nicolas Pepe are in midfield. Mesut Ozil and Gabriel Martinelli are in support of Alexandre Lacazette. As I say, an A15 starts to that one.
Jose.
Yeah, he says Troy Parrott is not ready to lead the line at Tottenham. Despite Spurs' striker crisis, Parrott hasn't been involved since a 5-minute cameo at home to Burnley back in mid-December. Harry Kane's out until April, leading Mourinho to admit this week that they're looking to buy a striker before the transfer window closes. But the Spurs boss says Parrott's not ready for the pressure of being Kane's direct replacement.
I had a long conversation with him today, so I'm ready to share with you a little bit. I think he has potential. I think he needs to work a lot. I think he has a process to go through, a process that probably Tanganga had it. One thing is 17, another thing is 20. We are speaking about 3 years of distance, and 3 years, okay, in Tanganga's case, was 3 years without a Premier League match, but was 3 years of working, of playing in his age groups, in playing in England national team. That also gave him some experience. And then with me was just the last part of his preparation until he had his first opportunity. I think Troy has to go through a process. Can he have minutes? Yes, he can have minutes. I'm not saying that he cannot have minutes, but to put on his shoulders the responsibility of replacing somebody too big to be replaced, I don't think he's ready at all.
Not ready at all, right. It's the first time I've heard that. I read the headlines. It seems, there's always the worry that Troy Parrott's almost collateral damage in some kind of tug-of-war with Daniel Levy and give me the money. But when you hear him there talking about a 17-year-old and also saying he will still get some minutes, but he's just not ready to lead the line, I think that's totally fair enough, isn't it?
Troy Parrott's only been in England just over 18 months. You're talking about a team that got to the Champions League final last year, that he's going to be the saviour, that he's going to send them off on a winning run that gets them into the Champions League. Like, we're all excited about the young attacking players, and we should get excited. We need something to bloody get excited about. We've got to be a little bit realistic here. Like, 17, this whole thing of Jose Mourinho could be the worst manager for his career. You know, does he sit it out for the next 2 years?
Yeah.
By which time he'll be 19.
Yeah.
Like, if Troy Parrott hasn't played 10 Premier League games in the next 2 years, it's not the end of the world. And like going out on loan as a 17-year-old to where? Championship, League One.
I don't know if that's necessarily good for him either, no.
Go play underage football, as Mourinho was saying. Score a load of goals. And when you get your chance, get your minutes here and there. Try and nick a goal. And next time, in a couple of years, when there's an injury, maybe get your chance. Or maybe, like so many Irish players, you leave Spurs in 3 years' time. It's not the end of the world. And you go to another club. But this thing that if he doesn't make the breakthrough between now and the end of the season, well...
Is it not disappointing though when you see like a game where they were chasing it to get away to Middlesbrough in the Cup and he wasn't brought on? He's not been involved as, like, I'm not saying not being involved as a substitute, as in brought off the bench. He's not even on the bench for, I think, pretty much every Premier League game since that game against Burnley. And he's not playing under 23 football along with that. That's the concern. Well, that he's betwixt and between, as Keith Andrews mentioned on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but again, he's still only 17. So Mourinho obviously is in a position where he needs numbers for training. So he needs strikers. He needs someone who can
play in the league,
do what he wants to do and doesn't want to be gone with the 23s. So he's around. He's travelling with the squad. He's at the games. But he clearly doesn't feel he's ready physically, mentally right now.
Then let him back down to the 23s and let him play games.
So only one player younger than Troy Parrott's played in the Premier League this season. like Harvey Elliott at Liverpool. So there's no rush.
No, I agree.
We're in a mad rush because we're thinking, well, if all goes well in Slovakia, not even Slovakia, we'd hoped he might be in a position to be starting that game after he played against New Zealand. Now, you can't really see a situation where he's in the squad for that game. He'll probably go back with the 21s again. But you were certainly hoping that by the time Euro 2020 came around that he'd be in contention for the squad. Again,
If he's not, it's not the
if
end
he's
of the
not,
world.
it's not the end of the world.
Frank and Kildare, hey lads, what about the Arsenal duo, Frank Stapleton and Niall Quinn?
They surely didn't play together.
Fiacre and Navan has Simon Cox and Shane Long at West Brom.
30 Ireland caps.
How can Richie
God, what?
be so critical of golf when he supports a game like cricket, Wonder's Own? That's a great point on. Niall and Cork.
That's unbelievably harsh.
Niall and Cork says, sorry
It's
to
more
be...
egalitarian than...
Is it?
Yeah, anybody can play cricket. You have to be a member and to know the right people to get into a golf club.
Oh, you don't. You can go
And you have to pay
wander down to
green
You
fees.
can wander down to Corbelis and play around.
Wander down. Nobody's ever wandered down to Corbelis.
See? That's your own buddy saying that.
Sorry to be pedantic, says Niall and Cork. The strip in the middle is called the pitch. They bowl from wicket to wicket. Niall, I asked lads outside before even coming on air, can I call that piece of turf the wicket? And they said I
Name
could.
names, Joe.
JP, in fairness, JP gave a different reason. You knew, he's been too pedantic. Okay. So he says they bowl from wicket to wicket. The strip in the middle is called the pitch, bowling end and batting end. And he says, I played for a whole year when in secondary school in Essex. So
Well, come on.
John says, read the talk about cricket bowling and ball direction. Ask the GOAT, Andy Dunn. He played cricket for Ireland as a spin bowler and batsman. Surely not.
What? Senior? No way.
No way. You kept that quiet.
Schoolboy Ireland, says JP.
Wow, wouldn't surprise me. He was, by all accounts, as a
Talented.
young man.
Superstar as an
superstar,
out-half.
yeah.
Yeah. So he played cricket for Ireland underage. Never mentioned that once.
Came in.
He says the difference is slow spin bowlers can predict the direction. It's medium pace bowlers and fast pace bowlers who cut the ball with the finger position on the ball seam. That can have an unpredictable bounce. As the ball is travelling so fast in the air, the rotations and velocity can lead to the ball bouncing the other way for, say, 30% of the time, says John. So
clears it up.
The slower spin bowlers now
Are more deliberate.
the fast bowlers obviously can't quite predict what way the ball's going to bounce on the pitch. On the wicket.
It's like a learning curve.
Every day's a school day.
Absolutely.
We've got to wrap unless there's something very pressing.
Leo Connor's going to Partick Thistle on loan from Celtic. Another man who made his debut against New Zealand. And former Munster defence coach Jack Nienaber is going to be the new head coach of the Springboks.
Very good. We have the hurler of the year, Seamus Callan, in studio next.
Off the ball on News Talk.
Look, there's no way you can fit all these features in 30 seconds.
I know it's a bit long. Sure, just give it a go.
All right. The all-new Skoda Scala comes with a range of connectivity features as standard, like wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, lane assist to help maintain your car's position while driving, Skoda Connect to track the location of your car wherever it goes, an emergency call button in case of an accident, LED lights and rear dynamic indicators. Phew, I made it. The Skoda Scala, our smartest car yet.
For 40 years, Finline Furniture have been making Ireland's finest sofas,